Robert Craig, just an old man reading from his Bible. I'm the old man. This is the Bible I read from right here. It's the Holy Bible, King James Version. Normally I make videos in batches, a book at a time. I'll cover a certain section of the Bible and then kind of release them a day at a time. And I try to put them in little short videos so I don't put people to sleep. My wife used to say I could talk anybody to sleep. In fact, she used to sometimes, if she had trouble sleeping, she'd say, talk to me about anything. I wanted to say a little bit about all this predicting that's going on. And my prediction is going to be no prediction. And I want to quote 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 18. And it shows the importance of studying correctly. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. Or why I stumbled over that word. And their word will eat as doth a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. We live in a time of predictions. I was just watching Mike Winger, who usually has a question and answer session in his videos. People write in these questions and he'll deal with them. Theological questions. I don't know much about his ministry, but this one he put out a couple days ago was about all these predictions. And he pointed out how when the year 1000 was coming, there was a big hubbub about it, and that was disappointing to a lot of people, and it injured their faith. And then there was, in our times, George Miller in 1844 predicted a certain date. It was all worked out by mathematics, calculations, and people put on white robes and gathered on hilltops on the appointed date. And that didn't happen. The day came and went. And it is known in church history as the big disappointment. And then there came Charles Taze Russell, and he set a date. And when that one didn't pull off, he set another date. I think it was 1914, and then finally 1918, and then he kind of quietly got out of the date setting business. And most Jehovah's Witnesses today will try to distance themselves from him, like someone who's painted their wagon because they have a plague or something. He made the prediction, set the date 3 times, and one that I remember, I was 42 years old when Edgar Whisenant came out with his book, 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Must Be in 1988. And then when that didn't happen, he said, I forgot the 0 year. It has to be 89. And it was based on calculations, but it was also based on the birth of the nation of Israel in 1948, and 1989 just does not work with that. But he stuck to that for another year, and finally I think he was forced to say, well, I was wrong in one point. I shouldn't be a date setter. So he got out of that business, and it's really weird, but people make the assumption that it must be on a feast day, and they overlook. They talk about Jesus saying, "No man knows the day or the hour." He wasn't talking about the rapture. He was talking about the second coming. And they've tried to tie that to a feast day. Well, let me tell you, people are assuming today that if the rapture happens on any given date, that the tribulation period begins 1 second after that or less. That's the official beginning. Simultaneously, the rapture happens, tribulation clock is ticking. Well, that can't be true either, because prophecy has been on hold. You know, the Old Testament prophecy timeline has been on hold since the stoning of Stephen. And when it starts back up again, there's a number of things that must occur after the rapture, before the tribulation, and it will take months, possibly years, possibly even as much as 33 years. But that generation won't pass. Within 40 years, all they're going to know for sure is going to be 40 years or less. So they still won't know the date that the tribulation will start. Now, once the tribulation starts, then they'll know that it's 7 years from that period. And then an event happens in the middle of the tribulation, and then they will know that it's 3.5 years. Now let's see, here's a bunch of prophetic events that happen in Daniel 11 that lead up to the entry of the Antichrist. King of the South, the King of the North, the daughter of the King of the South, all this back and forth in the Mideast is going to happen. And there's one earmark, or I guess you'd say one sign that happens that you can kind of pin down that it's getting close. Let's see, there's going to be negotiations. I thought this was Wye River when this happened, but it says, both these kings' hearts shall do mischief, and they shall speak lies. Let's see, this is 11:27 in Daniel. They shall speak lies at one table. I would take that to be some sort of conference, a peace treaty or something, where they're trying to iron out a treaty. But it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Imagine that. And here we go. In verse 20, speaking of the king of the north, it says, there shall stand up in his estate a raiser of taxes. You have to wonder, how's that a sign? So many rulers are raising taxes. But this guy's raising taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. In his state shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Almost like a man with a bow that has no arrows, that like possibly the Antichrist. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. And he shall enter peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. Let's see. Then he returns to his own land in verse 28. And at the time appointed he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. Okay, skip a few verses here. Here we go. Verse 31, and arms shall stand on his part. I take it that means that armed forces are going to gather behind him. They shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. I believe at this point we're at mid-trib. And shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corrupt by flatteries. I believe this is the big falling away that comes in, it's mentioned in by Paul in his letters to the Thessalonians. There's going to be this falling away. In other words, the Jews are going to be deceived by the Antichrist until they realize he's a deceiver. And they're going to realize it when they see that abomination of desolation set up. And he's going to make them stop their daily sacrifices. Now in verse 12, or chapter 12 rather, this angel is still telling Daniel about the end time events. He says, and at that time, and I believe it's still talking about the mid-tribulation, and the end too. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Now, at that time could refer to the whole 7 years, or could refer to the second 3.5 years. I'm not sure on that. Verse 2, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. I believe that's covering a stretch of time also, probably coinciding with the end of the tribulation and with the end of the 1,000 years. Verse 3, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, see, remember where you are on the timeline. This is during the Babylonian captivity. Thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, that it shall be for a time and times and half. Well, if you take a time as a year, it's a year and 2 years and a half a year. Just a poetic way of expressing 3.5 years. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, and I understood not. Then said I, O Lord, what shall the end be? What shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. He's not talking about the wise of Daniel's day. He's talking about the day when all these things are happening. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up. Now refer back to 11, verse 31. That man that comes in, that worships the God of forces, that's the Antichrist. From that time there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth, and cometh to the 330 days. Well, that's an additional 45 days. What would be going on during that 45 days? Well, at the beginning of that, you have the second coming of Christ at the end of the tribulation. For 45 days, things are going to be being settled. There's going to be judgments and adjustments and rewards and punishments and all kinds of things are going on. And when that 45 days are up, some of those people that were there at the beginning are not going to be around anymore. Verse 13, but go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Daniel is being told that he is not going to live to see these things. He is going to rest in the earth, as many of the other prophets have done. He's going to be gathered unto his people. He's going to go to his long home, as it says in Ecclesiastes 12:5, and he is going to rest. And at the time of the end, well, then he'll stand on the earth again in his lot, or his proper group. And that's the way things stand. This has happened many times in our recent history. Predictions have been made. Well, it's different this time. We got a blood red moon, or this has got to be it. And the inevitable result is the faith of some people are overthrown, and it always does way more bad than it does good. So I would say, let it be a surprise the way it's meant to be. Don't try to figure it out. Don't pin your hopes on some Egyptian walking stick. That's all I got to say about that. And I'll just say, may the Lord bless this reading of His Holy Scripture. The rapture's always been imminent. It could be today. It could be any day, any given day. But we don't have anything that ties to prophecy. The rapture is part of the church program. We are not part of prophecy. Prophets didn't know about the church. They saw the mountains, the future events, but they didn't see that valley in between where the church existed for around 2,000 years. Well, I hope that settles things for someone. But live like it could be any day and plan to live out the rest of your life. Make yourself busy doing something. If you're retired like me, get a hobby. Do something to keep occupied. But keep your mind focused and watch always. I'll see you next time around.